So, during a little rummage of research for this here podcast, Elizabeth, I came across one funny story, but then several more of the same type of story, and I was going to bring it to a mini-sode, but thought it would be a good opener. So I found men who have gone on dates with women, and they've taken them to like a multi-level marketing pitch,
Who does that?
or like seminar, or
Well, who does that?
yeah. The wonderful Elizabeth Best, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful question off the top. Who does that indeed? I'm wondering if there's a male, like you flip it. Is there something? I'm sure it would be something in finance or.
Well, we did have that story ages ago. It was one of Jackie's stories, I think,
that's right.
where she was taken to like some weird cult.
It's a religious thing
like
or something.
Weird culty yoga. But I don't get what's your end. Like, are these people taking them to the MLM pitches because they are trying to sell them MLM, or they're just interested? Like, I would do something like that if it was, say, like, you know, when you used to go to timeshare pitches and you get like something like 2 nights hotel stay if you sit through their 4-hour presentation.
Yeah.
But I'd let them in on it. I'd be like, okay, we're going to do this really boring thing, but then like free hotel and booze. Woo!
Yeah, not just roped, basically blindsided.
Oh my God,
and roped into,
I would flip a table. I would flip a fucking table.
So I don't know if there's an equivalent when you flip it. Something in what's that? Bitcoin or something like that.
Look,
something
I don't think you need
investing.
to gender weird
know.
experiences. I just want to know if anybody else has gone to a really strange first date. If anyone, and if you have been taken on a first date to MLM something, multi-level marketing, please tell us the story. Dear God, I want to hear that story.
I beg on my knees and implore you to write in, because that's just a whole new level and fascinating.
That's a whole level of dating I didn't know existed.
Just when you think here on Ghosts of Boyfriends Past that you think we've uncovered the lowest of the low, or the weirdest of the weird, or the strangest of the strange, we find a new one. Something new pops up.
And then you get stuck in paying for whatever it is there that you got guilted into paying for the next year. You got to recruit more dates. You end up having some kind of polyamorous, like, multi-level marketing dating scheme.
That's right. If you recruit 3 friends. Hello, everybody. My name's Tom Harrison. You already heard Elizabeth Best off the top here. Please get in contact if you have anything relating to the main multi-level marketing.
If you can do the what do you call the Venn diagram of multi-level marketing and dating? If you can call up with anything that crosses over in that Venn diagram, I will laugh my ass off and love you forever.
Absolutely. Welcome one and welcome all to a main episode of Ghosts of Boyfriends Past. We do have a guest in as usual. Our guest is Steve, calling in from Sydney. Hello, Steve.
Hello.
How are you, my friend?
Not too bad.
Excellent. Readers at home, please, we're doing another Zoom call as this show ever expands with broader horizons, so please deal with any glitchy technology that we may incur along the way. Steve, you are the president of Tin Star Games, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Fantastic. How about a little plug off the top? Let our audience know.
Yes. Tin Star Games, we're an Australian, Sydney-based game design company making tabletop games, role-playing games, and card games and board games. And you can find us at tinstargames.com. That's tin like the metal.
We will put this in the show notes as well so that people can easily click the link through. So you're joining us today because you have a story to tell us about your past dating life.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
We do have some rules, which we have to run through because the lawyers will get on my back if I don't tell you not to threaten anybody on air, blah, blah, blah.
That's right. But a little bit of work from Elizabeth and I now saves us a whole lot of work down the line, editing and lawyers and all that. And Steve, every guest gets the same rules, so they're not just designed with you in mind. We didn't see you coming and go, gee whiz, no threats for this, please. So that's rule number 1, no threats on air, on microphone, please and thank you. Also, anyone at home that figures out who Steve is talking about or anything relate like to where people live or names, etc., please don't dox them. No sharing of private information and ruining it for the rest of us. And that's and aliases, Elizabeth.
Yes. So if you've got an alias for the person/people that you are speaking about, look, my bit of advice on that one from experience is don't make the alias too close to their actual name because you will fuck up. And I did many times when I was a guest on my own show. So, yes, just be a little bit careful with trying to conceal. We can go back and bleep if you do manage to mess it up, which it's very easy to do. So I wouldn't blame you at all.
No, I think I'll try.
Good.
My best is the best of my abilities to get this right, but I think I've got it down.
Perfect. All right. So where do we start this
take us
story?
away.
Situate us at the beginning.
Well, this is I guess more of a breakup story than a dating story.
Look, they're my favorite.
Yeah, it's a little bit bittersweet. So it was a relationship that ended, and a sad ending, where we couldn't make it work. But it was also it led to me sort of making these sort of discoveries after the fact, which were just sort of kind of painful, and it basically has to do with the fact that I'm not very good with technology, despite being a nerd in some other ways. So I didn't know something about how the iPhone works, and particularly how iPhone texts work.
So before we get into what happened after the breakup, can you give us a brief rundown on how long the relationship lasted and what were the reasons that it ended?
Yeah, okay. So we were together almost 9 months.
Right.
We actually met over Tinder, I believe, which is something that I find mostly successful using, but that's because I'm a man.
I was going to say, this is I was going to say, give me tips, but then as soon as you went, this is because I'm a guy, I'm like, oh, of course it's successful for you. Yep, great, cool.
Yeah. The deck is stacked,
yes.
Very much in our favor. So, yes. Yes, we had a lot in common to start with, but then things will, work their way to an end where we realized we didn't have an overlapping view of where we wanted to go and values and all those little things that make things work.
Sure.
So it was all very unfortunate, and the long untangling of going, well, hang on, how much do we actually like each other and want to keep going, and it was all a bit of an ordeal. I probably could have, come to my realization a little bit earlier, I think, is probably the upshot of that. And I think I was the breaker offer, and I should have cut it off a bit earlier.
Look, sometimes these things take time as well. Like by the time you realize that things aren't going well, you've still got the whole, but maybe if I, or maybe if we, or we'll do it this, and what if something miraculously changes? Like it's not an automatic, okay, well, I know we're done now. Like these things take time.
I think Seinfeld compared it to eating a piece of pizza where the cheese just won't break, and you just keep pulling, but the cheese just gets thinner and thinner and thinner.
Yes.
Because we can't eat our pizza with a knife and fork, basically.
No, so your cheese just kept getting thinner and thinner. No, that sounds really bad. Anyway, so you were the ender of the relationship.
Yep.
And then, so did you feel relieved when this particular relationship ended, or was it still quite melancholy?
It was a bit of both. Relief that the sort of stress was over, but a lot of melancholy. But I was also keen to get back on the horse, and that's sort of what made this. The time that I made the discovery about this sort of technology issue, I was actually already dating someone else again. So
okay.
So that sort of added to all the complexity, because I as I'll tell you in the story, basically. So I didn't know that there was this thing that you could do with messages where you could sort of you could draw things, which iPhone Messenger now has a standard.
I don't think I've ever used that feature. I know that it exists because I remember it being announced, but I don't think I've ever used that.
I don't own an iPhone. Is this an iPhone only technology, or is it
don't know.
You don't know?
Producer Zane says no. This is not iPhone only.
Yeah.
So you basically sketch a little picture and that sends up and it pops up in the Messenger window on their phone.
Yes,
Done.
but I thought the first time I got it, I think I clicked on something that said I don't want to see those anymore, and I kind of hid it.
Right.
And then so two things I found out very, very quickly. I was sort of going through my phone about a month after we broke up, and I discovered all of a sudden that there were all these messages, about one a week that I got from this person. Let's call her Rose. And I remember seeing them originally, and I just thought they were like a little graphic. Because basically what they looked like was like just the kissy lips. And I thought, it's just like a big emoji that she sent. But it is, in fact, a touch-sensitive thing. So what she had actually done is opened up the touch thing and put a very tender kiss on her screen.
Oh, I see.
And it had, in fact, been and when I look back, I realized that every time she'd done it, it had been a goodnight kiss.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
I thought it was just an emoji, so I said, don't show me these anymore. And then so a month after I'm dating, I'm looking through my phone, and there is basically almost once a week a goodnight kiss from this woman that is just sitting there on my phone that I never responded to.
Oh, wow.
And it just sort of fell out of the cupboard on top of me like this, like, oh my God, what have I done? I already felt like a kind of heel for being the breaker offer, and then it's like, oh dear.
Steve, how many weeks worth of kisses do you reckon had stockpiled?
At least 20.
At least 20. So
Yeah.
poor thing.
It was just it was just like I say, opening the cupboard and everything just falling onto your head and just going, oh my God. And also then replaying all the nice tender moments of the relationship over in your head and going, and just feeling all that nice affection and also the sadness of it being over. And I found this out, as I say, I found this out on my phone while I was setting up a date with somebody else.
Oh, God.
So then I had to have this interesting conversation where I was like, listen, I don't think I want to go out with you tonight because I think I'm going to be really horrible company.
Oh,
because
God.
I just found out all this stuff that is about my ex, and luckily, like, I think the person who received that message was like, oh, okay, that sounds like emotional intelligence, like that you're not going to want to go on a date with me while you're still going,
yeah. Look, that's that again, like that's a really that is an emotionally mature thing to do. Other people would just be like, oh, fuck it, and then get really, really drunk and have a terrible date.
Yes. So yeah, the good news is the person who I told that to was like, okay, that's a bit weird, but we can reschedule. And we are still together 3 years later.
Oh, well, see, that's nice.
There you go. Good.
There is a happy ending to that story. But yes, it was one of those things where I just found out a lot of information very, very quickly.
So, once you find this out, is that something that you want to then go and contact Rose about and actually, I don't know, make amends or apologize or say, I'm sorry that I don't understand technology? Like, what do you do with that info?
That was something I thought about. Well, we had actually, the final end of the breakup was quite severe because I basically broke her heart. And so the last thing was like, don't ever talk to me again.
Oh, dear.
Was the last communication we had. And I'm like, I don't think there's any good way to go back and say, oh, by the way, I missed all those little beautiful kisses you sent me. So, but it was a tragic end to I guess there was some elements of tragedy in the relationship because as much as I wanted to requite her feelings, I think she felt a lot stronger about me than I did about her.
That's always a shame. And Steve, when you first realize, like it dawns on you that you've missed 20 weeks of lovely messages from this person, do you start wondering what else you missed along in your relationship? Do you start torturing yourself in that capacity?
Definitely. Yeah. Starting to look around and like all the other, just checking through every other part of the phone to make sure that there's nothing else coming in. Understanding that thing actually, that you actually put your finger on it and it records or indeed your lips. Getting a little bit paranoid and just going over to my WhatsApp and all the millions of things that people can use to talk to you and going, hang on,
that's right.
Have I missed anything else?
Gosh, you thought that social media makes it a lot easier to connect with people, but it actually makes it a lot more difficult. I found that out today when Facebook went down and I was trying to organise this recording and I realised I don't have Zane's phone number, I don't have Tom's phone number, I don't have any of our guests' phone numbers.
My messenger pigeon's out.
Everything went to shit. But so I guess what did you come away from this learning? Like, what is the one thing that you would want to impart onto our readers from this particular little story?
Pay attention. It's probably something. Yes. You cannot afford to be inattentive, and I think that was probably a lot of the problem with the relationship. As I say, I was a bit slow to check in on it, and if I'd been more attentive in other ways, I probably would have. I don't think we could have corrected it, but we would have realized early on and avoided more of the pain. And ask questions. Talk about, if somebody sends you something, even if it's something that seems fairly straightforward or clear, you can just go, oh, that was nice what you sent me, or, ask questions, interrogate, and respond to every little thing that you get, because communication is a delicate beast. It is fragile. Some writer once said that communication always fails except by accident, because we are very bad at actually making a proper connection with other people. We send out ideas and we assume that they're all going to be delivered with perfect fidelity, and they're not always understood. I just thought it was just a little a pink image, but it was just a way. It was actually, an actual kiss being sent. And she never mentioned it to you in person. She never said, did you get my goodnight kiss? Or she only just communicated with you via social media? We talked, we used text a fair bit. I guess we didn't use text that much. So we did use it a fair bit, but then we would meet in person and something. And maybe it was just something that she didn't feel like bringing up. I think it might have been a very emotionally intimate moment for her as well. If
it was me, I would just be sitting there being like, why didn't he reply?
Yes.
I'm just going to keep doing it, but why didn't he reply?
So it sounds like an optional extra she's including into the relationship package. It's not an established thing that needs to be talked about, but the poor thing, you didn't get a single recognition for it. Steve, did you grapple with feelings of guilt?
Yes.
I imagine as well. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of guilt about the end of the relationship in general, about the relationship in general, of that the desperate need to be the person that they want you to be. And that was just seemingly like emblematic of that I just seemed to have missed all the things that I should have been in that relationship.
And so what did you take from this particular incident into your next relationship in order to make it, I guess, not make the same mistakes?
Definitely a sense of really drilling into communication as much as possible. I mean, I am on the autism spectrum, so I'm a little bit of an over-explainer sometimes, but I'm always really keen to just go, this is exactly what I'm feeling about this thing right now, and never just going, oh, well, I'll just worry about that later, or that's not something we need to talk about, or, this is fine for now. Looking for good, strong, emotional and intellectual connections, and just keeping those pathways open as much as you possibly can, because it is easy to just make assumptions and to be inattentive and just be like, this is fine, we seem okay, that can be fine. But I think especially if you're looking for a deep emotional connection with someone, it is something that requires your full attention and and a lot of over communication. Talking.
A lot of the time when you think you're over communicating, we're like, it happens with me a lot of the time where I think I'm over explaining something, I'm actually just explaining it to somebody else's level of comprehension. I don't think it's possible to over communicate when it comes to ensuring that people know what your needs and boundaries are. I think my big lesson from this would be put down the technology and say it if you can,
Yeah.
because we don't know when social media is going out next. We don't know when we're going to be technologically messed up. Like, who knows? Like, I was reading this what was it? I was reading Reddit at one point today, and somebody had given this piece of origami to somebody in like the last year of high school, and then 5 years later, when they were cleaning out all their stuff, they realized that there was writing, and they unfolded it, and it was basically this girl asking him out. And I'm just like, say it out loud. You don't know when a piece of paper is going to fly down the street, or when, like, serendipity, you're going to write your number in a book and put it down, and when that's going to go. Like, you got to say the things that you want to say when the feeling grabs you, I reckon.
Absolutely. Steve, I just wanted to comment quickly that you're in a relationship now, which is great. I don't want to curse that or take that away from you, but you get your past relationship that we're talking about, you guys broke up, and you probably broke up for a reason. So as annoying and as guilty as you would feel from having missed all these little kiss messages, ultimately it might not have changed. Like, had you recognized them, it might not have changed everything. It might not have changed the outcome. Her getting recognition for cute little acts once a week might not have swung the relationship into the good anyway. So
and look, who knows? You feeling like a complete d-bag after that relationship might have made you a much better partner in this current one.
Yeah,
so swings and roundabouts, right?
That's absolutely right. And my lesson is, I suppose, as we've said, dear readers at home, I want you to write in what signs have you missed? What's not necessarily in your romantic life and endeavors, but in life in general? What signs have you missed? Those awful moments when they can be fun, like when you go hours later, you go, she was flirting with me.
That's me every day.
Oh my God. You know,
what an idiot!
So often in life, we miss those obvious glaring red
I want to
signs.
know. I want to know the missed signs, guys. So write in. I'll pop something in the Ghosts of Boyfriends Past group therapy. I want to know, what signs have you missed, good or bad? What red flags have you missed?
And from like anything like the origami thing, I remember somebody once gave me it was a joke gift that I thought it just said canned platypus on it. And I thought that was the joke. It's like, hey, canned platypus. Yes. And they're like, then like 6 months later, they go, oh, but you can open it. And there was an adorable little platypus inside. And again, it's just like, sometimes you have to look like an idiot and go, do you know that this door opens and shuts, to people? And like, they're like, duh. But I was like, check. I need to check.
Yeah.
Because people miss things.
Some people are like, there's a door in this room? What do you mean? Yeah. People got their own stuff going on. You can over-communicate if you want, but it's probably just normal communication to somebody else.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Someone will always miss the obvious.
I will always need one more thing explained to me. Look, honestly, some days if you have a slow day, you need to explain more than one thing to me, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm a smart person, but I'm not altogether that street smart sometimes. I certainly don't ever recognize when someone's flirting with me. So please tell me if you're flirting with me, because I don't get it.
Yeah, just come out and say it. Just come out and say it, everybody. Wow, Steve, quite the unfortunate little trough you managed to step in there in your romantic endeavors. I hope that going forward you manage to avoid. It's not even a bad pitfall. It's not like a negative thing. It's just unfortunate more than anything. It's not oh dear.
But it's one of those opportunities that I love on Ghosts of Boyfriends Past, where something's happened and it's given you the opportunity to open your eyes that little bit more and notice what's going on and understand.
Absolutely.
For future. Now, Steve, you mentioned off mic that you have something that you'd like to promo for Tin Star Games coming up, being that this episode is probably airing almost the closest that it's ever been to recording. So what would you like to promo?
So we are about to launch a Kickstarter for our role-playing game Relics, which is about angels and demons fighting in a sort of urban fantasy, religious horror universe. We released the game 2 years ago through Kickstarter. We're now coming back to Kickstarter with an expansion, but it's also a chance for people to get the core game as well. So it's called Treasures on Earth, and that's going live this weekend. And the link will be in the show notes, hopefully.
Yes, if you send it through to us, it shall be there.
Yeah, it's a really simple and easy role-playing game system. So if you've never role-played before, if you've just been a little bit interested in it, but you're not wanting to get into Dungeons and Dragons and all those things, you're more interested in things like Supernatural or Good Omens.
That's
or things,
so me.
Yeah, then please check it out. Yeah, might be your kind of thing.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Board games, etc., etc. I mean, in the current climate that we live in, we're going to be stuck inside for the rest of time anyway.
No, it's only in Australia. The rest of the world's open.
But they are a constant staple for family gatherings, Christmas time. The board game will never die. They can only get strengthened. So go check out 10 Star Games and help out like an Aussie developer. Why not?
And if you'd like to share your story, you can go to ghostofboyfriendspast@gmail.com, send us an email, or that'snotcanon.com/ghostofboyfriendspast to fill in our handy form. I will put a call out. If you have applied to be a guest recently and you haven't heard from us, please check your junk mail, because I think I've sent out about 20 emails and I'm not hearing from people back. So I'm wondering whether we're getting junked. So
is it us or is it you? That's our question.
It's not me, it's you. So if you have applied and you've been eagerly waiting by your keyboard going, why won't they contact me? Check your junk mail. Other than that, guys, thank you so much, Steve, for coming in or for zooming in. And Tom, we got to communicate better in our relationships.
Yes, I'm sick of telling you all.
Yeah, just do it.
Just
do it. Auntie Liz and Uncle Tom say, communicate.
Right. Come on, guys.
Yeah.